So Donald Trump's trade war with the rest of the world continues, and his Commerce Secretary Lutnick had some thoughts on it. I want to play some of the interview, and let's just jump right in.
Big tariffs on things like smartphones and laptops, iPhones, all those iPhones built in China, that those tariffs are temporarily off, but they're going to be coming right back on in another form in a month or so? Or what are you saying?
Correct. That's right. That's right. Semiconductors and pharmaceuticals will have a tariff model in order to encourage them to reshore, to be built in America. We need our medicines and we need semiconductors and our electronics to be built in America. We can't be beholden and rely upon foreign countries for fundamental things that we need. We can't be relying on China for fundamental things that we need, our medicines.
Okay, so let's try to break this stuff down. First, this was the headline that caught my attention, so I looked up the interview. It says, U.S. tech tariff exemption will be temporary, says Lutnick. So basically, Trump was raising tariffs around the world. You guys know this. Then he did a 90-day pause and said on all the rest of the countries, we're going to have a 10% tariff across the board, except for China. We're going to have a 145% tariff on China, but then we're going to have some exemptions in some categories, which was a lot of it was tech-related, semiconductors, et cetera. I know this stuff gets confusing. And then the question basically boils down to, are we going to make iPhones in USA? Is that our end goal? And then Lutnick's answer is, well, certain industries and certain things we have to make in USA for national security. It was really a convoluted answer. And then they kept saying that, maybe the tariffs will be back on in a month. And basically sort of how I read this is just what I want to talk with you about. The Trump people all along want to enrich themselves, okay? And essentially, if whatever companies come in and bribe Trump, give him $1 million to have dinner, whatever, put a bunch of money in their campaign, I think that's what they're going for. And I think this is sort of why their answers always come a bit strange, because they're trying to cover up for the fact that they're really in it to enrich themselves. Have some more watch and you'll see what I'm saying here.
The president's made it clear he wants negotiations with China. Have you had any conversations with your Chinese counterpart? Has there been anything between you and the Chinese?
I think we've had soft, the way I would say it is soft entrees,
So first, after a really long pause, have you been talking to the Chinese, right? It's like, please don't ask me that. Then he has to come up with some sort of answer where he's saying soft entrees. Like, what does it mean? So basically, they got nothing. Have a listen more of what they say, though.
Through intermediaries and those kind of comments. But we all expect that the President of the United States and President Xi of China will work this out. I am completely confident, as is he, that this will be worked out in a positive, thoughtful, and effective way for the United States of America. I mean, Donald Trump has the ball. I want him to have it. He's the right person with it. He knows how to play this game. He knows how to deal with President Xi. This is the right person for the right role. And I am confident this is going to work out with China. Yes, is it in a tough spot now? Of course it is. But you'll see. All of that energy will sort of decline and we'll end up in a perfectly reasonable place with China. I'm confident of it.
So that's their answer, and I just want you to see it for yourself. The basic is, hey, are you talking to China? What's going on with negotiations? Long pause. We might be talking through some intermediaries. I don't think they got anything. It doesn't seem like it. And their other answer is, as they always try to come up with, is, well, Trump's a really good businessman and just put your trust in Trump. And it's pretty poor answers, to be very frank. This is sort of why I'm going over what's actually happening. This was just reported now at the same time in the interview. China halts critical exports as trade war intensifies. So basically, at any moment, China can just stop sending the USA stuff. That's what it boils down to. So I'm not against reshoring jobs in USA or diversifying our supply chains. I think that's a good thing, right? But the problem is the way the Trump people are doing it is haphazard. It doesn't seem like they have any semblance of a plan. And I guess that's their language, right? Semblance of plan or concepts of a plan. They're just looking out to enrich themselves. And which I'll go over in a moment here. But this is also part of what you have to understand the world that we live in. It says, until 2023, China produced 99% of the world's supply of heavy earth metals, with a trickle of production coming out of the refinery in Vietnam. but that refinery has been closed for the past year because of tax dispute, leaving China with a monopoly. And so effectively, right, China is got a large, resources, these rare earth minerals that the world needs. The USA needs this stuff. And it's kind of ineffective to do this trade policy in a way where we're insulting them, et cetera. And in my opinion, just my humble opinion, the USA should be working really hard to develop stronger relationships in Southeast Asia. I think that would be a really good thing. But, for the Trump point of view, who's the country he meets with first? Israel. Who's the country that he visits first? Saudi Arabia. That's his focus. And again, if you guys don't know with the Saudi Arabia situation, the first time they did the tariffs, Trump's like, hey, I'm going to go do my golf tournament thing with the Saudis. That's literally what they're up to. So he's just in it for enriching himself. And then you can see here, this was the news today. China has suspended exports of a wide range of critical minerals and magnets, threatening to choke off supplies of components central to automakers, aerospace manufacturers, semiconductor companies, and military contractors around the world. So that's sort of where we're at. And then you have this problem too, where Vance is insulting Chinese. You can watch this.
We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America.
Did the vice president go off message there? I mean, he's calling the Chinese peasants. This is something that we heard the Chinese say was ignorant and disrespectful. I mean, I haven't heard Donald Trump talk that way about the Chinese.
No, I'm just going to step back and really just leave the vice president to let him defend himself. He knows what he meant, and we all know what he meant.
So Lutnick's at least smart enough to I'm not touching that. I'm not defending the vice president. I'm not touching that. So, I mean, this is just pretty frank, a disaster. I don't know where this is going to end. Again, China has the power over the USA. Their strategy is just trust in Donald Trump. He's so great at this stuff. Trump's strategy is, hey, I'm going to make myself rich and go meet with the Saudis. I'm just telling you guys what's up. They're going to make the case that Trump's going to be bringing a whole bunch of jobs to the USA, manufacturing. A lot of it is smoke and mirrors. Let me play some of it and just so you can see for yourself what we're talking about here.
The president also said there's going to be a transition cost, transition problems. I mean, we are going to see higher prices in America as well. It's not like you can open a factory tomorrow to build iPhones or to make sneakers, shoes. I mean, we buy a lot of shoes in this country. 99% of them are made elsewhere. I mean, are we going to become a nation of cobblers again? I mean, this is going to mean higher prices, isn't it?
And that's a legitimate question. It's a question that I thought of immediately when we started slapping tariffs on Vietnam. So, okay, is that our goal, is to, bring clothing manufacturing to the USA, these kind of things? The answer that Ludnick is going to say, oh, we're going to bring manufacturing jobs and high tech, et cetera. So listen to what he says. You'll see. So basically, he dodges the kind of Nike question, basically.
I mean, have you seen, I don't necessarily think so. I think the idea is that we can manufacture here in America. As I said, I saw Panasonic, the battery company, right, Japanese company. They built an amazing factory in Kansas, which they're opening now. They put it in the ground when Donald Trump was the president. It's just finishing now. 4,000 new jobs built from what they made deals with the community colleges nearby and all the local community and the local university.
So I'm not against battery factories in USA. I just want to make that clear. I'm not against that. But the stuff that he's talking about is a little bit of smoke and mirrors because you're still going to have to get the materials from somewhere, right? So that's important. And then, as we just talked about, China's cutting off, basically magnets and things that we need. You can get it from other countries, but that's where you need to have relationships. This is actually Panasonic here. It says is hiring for the DeSoto plant, hopes to be ready for production this spring. That's in January. But there's been some discussion on what's actually happening with this plant. Trump is looking at cutting essentially government support for this kind of plant. This literally just came out in February. Are billions in federal EV incentives for Panasonic plant in limbo? And this is where it ends up being smoke and mirrors, right? Donald Trump's EV tax credit takeback could undermine Panasonic's Kansas plant. This is a very, very thorny and tricky issue. because the Trump people, they tend to be against green energy or anything kind of new technology. Yet they've also partnered with Elon Musk, who would want these EV credits, right? It's like I said, it's a thorny issue. The Republicans tend to want to be on the more side of oil and these kind of things. And this is sort of where they're talking about high-tech jobs, yet their policies doesn't really support said jobs, and it ends up being smoke and mirrors. And so this stuff is in limbo. So that's why I want to point out to you. And then the stuff that they do talk about, this would be the Trump people where he's signing an order, is shower heads. Watch this. You'll see what I'm saying. And you'll see Lutnick in the background. Watch him laugh. You'll see.
Administration launched what you've called a war on showers. They had certain regulations that basically killed the water pressure of showers and other water appliances.
You can say it. Go ahead. What are the appliances?
I mean, it's everything, sir.
Sinks and toilets.
Dishwashers, toilets, sinks. But the shower heads are a
There's
huge
no
deal.
water. You don't get water. It's ridiculous.
So with this executive order, we're effectively going to be reversing that set of regulations to ensure that Americans have choice in the consumer market. If they want a low-flow shower head, they can buy one. If they want a real deal shower head, they should have it. That's true.
You buy a new house, you pay a lot of money, and
See, and they're literally all laughing. And I'll let you guys read what the laughing means. Are they laughing because they know this whole thing is stupid? Why are they laughing? I mean, it is. This a lot of stuff is a joke. I know it's really frustrating. I just wanted to go through kind of the stuff they're saying, because a lot of times, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors, or even here, even when they show who they really are, like they're laughing because like, why are we, in my opinion, like why are we wasting time on executive orders on shower heads, and like then we're talking about showers? That's their priority. Like it is laughable because it's so stupid. But that's what they're up to. You know, watch a little bit more, and you can see just Lutnick is just laughing his butt off, as you can see.
developers, you're not allowed to do anything more. They put restrictors on. They used to have a restrictor where you could take it out, but now they weld it in, and you take a shower or wash your hands, whatever you do, including dishwashers when no water comes out. But you wash your hands, and in my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
So I guess if you work for Trump, you got to laugh at his jokes. And when we talk about, I'm going to make it so showers are great again, so I can have beautiful hair. That's where we are. That's what's going on with the tariffs. Want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you all in the next video.